Hey guys, Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. Let's talk about the cyber ransomware, cyber attacks, cyber end of the world as we know it. Is this the end of the world? Can it be the end of the world? In a way, no. In a way, yes. The ultimate end of the manipulation by the bankers and all the fraud going into the banking system is not going to be blamed on the bankers. It's going to be blamed on a computer failure. Ultimately, that's their end game. Right now, they use computers and electronic assets to rig markets, to steal real assets by forging their prices on electronic exchanges like the COMEX and the LBMA for gold and silver. But ultimately, that will be their end game. It is the only way the DTCC can get out of all the fraudulent shares and fraudulent contracts and transactions that they're supposed to be overseeing. That one entity is supposed to oversee the relaying of assets back and forth to each other and to other banks and other financial institutions in the terms of signing contracts, exchanging the title, you name it, from stocks to bonds to derivatives, obviously, to mortgages. Everything is supposed to go through the DTCC, and they're supposed to be the ones to finish the backroom paperwork, and they don't do it. Over 300 million electronic failure to delivers happen every day. So no shares are traded hands, no title signed over, no money exchanged. Every single day, over 300 million. That's just the stock market. So ultimately, it's a big, gigantic Ponzi scheme. Bart Chilton of the CFTC called it Ponzimodium. But he was completely helpless as far as stopping it, because you can't stop it. The game can't stop. It has to continually run until the last day. And to get out of the criminality that has gone on and get rid of this problem that no one can ever settle up, they're going to have to create a cyber false flag. And that cyber false flag will happen instantly. It'll feel like instantly. This is a great, this latest ransomware issue is a great example of how easy it is to do. But it might be one day you wake up and your electronic assets are completely gone and there's no way to find them because of a hack, of a computer virus, of a ransomware, you name it, but it takes the blame off the banksters, off those people who were supposed to be in charge of our assets and our economics, and puts it onto the concept that electronic assets were never that sound in the first place, which is absolutely true. So let's talk quickly about the internet, and then we'll go into this article. The internet is absolutely vital to our way of life today, and it has become that way over the last 20 or 30 years, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because all the information and all the data and all the books and all the written word that has been created by mankind over the past 30 years has all been digitized and not made into real books. Everything's going on the internet and being recorded in the internet and recorded using the internet, and everything we do is now dependent upon the internet. Our communication back and forth, me talking to you right now, YouTube. Without the internet, YouTube would be gone. Facebook would be gone. All the social media would be gone. There would be no email. What? No email? There would be no texting. There'll be no phone calls. There'll be no television. It is all dependent upon the functioning of this thing called the internet. And truthfully, because it has grown organically here, and all been patched together, nobody really knows how it fully operates. And for it to go down, to fix it, good luck. Good luck. It'll be weeks, months, years, ultimately, if a fix is even deemed to be a good idea. Was it a good idea to create this system that we have today that everything relies so heavily upon, and yet it is so fragile? Your bank will shut down. Your brokerage house will not be open. You know, banks need the internet. I hate to tell you, the ATMs rely on the internet. Finding your balance. If you go into your bank now, they have a computer terminal that uses the internet. And Will they still have your balance of electronic digits somewhere in the back file of some computer somewhere in some computer storage area? Maybe, but they're not going to show you it. Because they rely on other banks as well, and it's such an interwoven web that when the internet goes down, it's all gone. Goodbye. And everybody gets laid off. There is no money to transact business, and it is the end of the world as we know it. The chaos will be immense. Amazing amount of chaos. And who are you going to blame also? And how would you even know what happened? You won't know what happened because the communications are down. It's not like newspapers these days. Even the physical newspapers rely on the internet for delivery of papers. And there will be no gasoline to put in the trucks to deliver the papers, to deliver the food. Our just-in-time delivery system is absolutely 100% contingent upon the internet. Companies like Amazon and all the food manufacturing that goes on in the farms around the world, the only way to get food to market is through transportation, which all relies on the internet. And even if it got to a store, they won't know how to transact business because they won't be able to make change because they always relied on this computer point-of-sale terminal sitting there at the grocery store. But there would be no food on the shelves because any natural disaster within hours, everything is gone from the shelves of a grocery store. Either people buying it or just flat-out riots. So, yeah, it is a gigantic problem, but it is also the way out for the banksters. And that way they won't go to jail, which they kind of want to do, and they can do it. They have the ability to do it, and the CIA can do it, and so many people can do it. It will happen at some point. At some point in our future, the system that we have built will collapse. I don't know if it's tomorrow or the next day, but I would assume that the bankers would force it to collapse to get out of their the big rig, as I like to call it. So be prepared for it. How do you be prepared? Who knows? Anyway, let's look at this article by Marco Byrne, who's a great writer, and he's a silver guy and a gold guy. But I personally don't think silver and gold will do you any good if the internet goes down as well. It can't be used as money because nobody has any. Nobody knows to make change. The mindset is gone for using gold and silver as money. It would have to be redistributed to the population for it to ever to be used as money. And will that happen? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. I think silver's too valuable to use as money. Everybody would be taking the silver and using it to make iPhones and solar panels and things that are necessary. Gold probably will be used as money at some point, but it's not like anybody has any. And no one would trust a government that backed their currency with gold because they're the ones who made the problem in the first place. It's the governments and the central banks of the world that have caused this problem. Anyway, let's quickly go over this article. This is about the latest ransomware. Cyber attacks show vulnerability of digital systems and digital currencies. If they're talking about Bitcoin, it's a different story. Bitcoin's not a fiat digital currency, unbacked fiat digital currency. Bitcoin is something completely different. And yes, if the internet goes down, Bitcoin will be gone. If the internet comes back up, Bitcoin will be right where it was when we left it. But the deal is also, like I said, if the internet goes down, we're talking about mass chaos, and no one's going to care about gold and silver either. So in the long term, which will be more suitable for use as money, I don't know, truthfully. If we are thrown back to the Stone Ages, I don't think either of them will. Gold and silver, because nobody has it, so they can't conduct business with it. Bitcoin, if you don't have the internet, you don't have the ability to transact business. So we are pretty much in a catch-22 when it comes to the crash. It's hard to say, since the internet is so vulnerable, you should get gold and silver. I don't agree with that at all, because if the internet is so vulnerable and goes down, gold and silver will be useless. And then they'll rebuild the system, and depending on how a new system is built, probably on a local level first, I doubt gold and silver will be used as money. just because the very fact that nobody has any. Kind of hard to use anything as money when nobody has any. Change is going to be great, I think. And the U.S. Mint actually makes it, so it's not a Federal Reserve note. But there are also other ways. We can have a half crash, and the government starts up with maybe a gold backing to a cryptocurrency type of monetary system. I think that's what they're planning on doing. But how that will work logistically, and what about the countries that have no gold? What about all the gold hidden in America and the Grand Canyon, at Chocolate Mountain, all around the United States? Massive amounts of gold are being hidden and held back. How will it all shake out? I don't know. I don't think anybody does. But to think that because of cyber attacks, you should get out of cryptocurrencies and into metals, I think is a big mistake. Because if cryptocurrencies aren't around, that means the internet's down. If the internet's down, gold and silver will be worthless. You can't get any. Nobody will have any to use as money. So let's go through this article. Sorry for the delay. Cyber attack shows vulnerability of digital systems and digital currencies. Cyber attacks expected to spread today in second phase. UK intelligence scale of threat significant. Microsoft slams the NSA for letting hacking tools cause global malware epidemic. I have a huge problem with that. The NSA has offices within the Microsoft complex in Seattle. The NSA is in... Yes, Microsoft knows exactly what the NSA and the CIA are doing. So for them to blame the NSA is very, very, very disingenuous. Ransomware attack already crippled more than 200,000 computers in 150 countries, so it's spreading. 1.3 million computer systems believed to be at risk. That's a lot. But, one computer system might not matter if it's, mine on my desktop, but if it's at the Federal Reserve computer that controls $100 trillion that flows through governments and banks, that's a problem. Interpol warns many computer systems simply won't start. Businesses, banks, and governments agencies around the world told to prepare. Renault, FedEx among companies affected by cyber attack. FedEx, that's a problem. See, that's the distribution of goods and services. FedEx is one of those players. Banks in China, including ATMs, were affected. Hackers could shut down banks and cut off power and water supplies. Yes. Biggest threat to civilization since the Second World War. Cybersecurity expert says. Risks posed to digital deposits and digital wealth are the new case for gold. I would not say that. It's not a case for gold. Without the cyber side of things, gold, it will never be used as money. Because of all those things I said. Because of the end of banking. Because there's no computers. Everybody will have lost everything. Who has the gold? And will it ever come back as used as money? The reason gold came back as used as and was used as money in the past is because it was never really gone. They always tried to go off a gold standard, but they had some kind of backing to it, and everybody still had silver coins and gold coins, and it was used around the world. Now it's not. Nobody has silver coins. Nobody has gold coins. So to think that because the system crashed and historically it has gone back to gold and silver as money is naive, because there won't be any. Nobody will have any. And those who do have it will hoard it thinking that because they have gold and silver, they're going to protect themselves. The reality is the only reason it was good protection is it was the best organic way to go back to some kind of commercial activity, an economic activity, because everybody had a little gold and everybody had a little silver. Now nobody has any, so it is not the best way to go back to it anymore. Because it'll take deciders, and those deciders would have to give up their gold and silver for the rest of the people for something. So no, it won't be implemented. Then again, Bitcoin, when the internet comes back up, if the internet comes back up, your Bitcoin position is exactly the same if you keep your Bitcoin out of a third-party system. Don't keep your Bitcoin on Coinbase, or don't keep your Bitcoin in an exchange, especially because they won't be around after the crash of the banks and the cyber crash. But if the internet comes back up, if you hold your Bitcoin in your own possession on like a Trezor electronic drive, or even better in my conception of it, is a paper wallet. And all paper wallet is a private address and a public address. And that's all it is, and that's all you need to own and control your Bitcoin. So let's go through a couple more of these. Let's just jump right to the end of this article because it kind of sums up what they're talking about. A concerted attack on Western financial system would likely include attempts at disabling various exchanges, including stock markets and foreign exchange markets. Banks could be attacked in such a way that ATMs and wire transfers are disabled, and bank balances, which are merely digital figures, could be erased. Absolutely true. But it wouldn't take a coordinated attack. All it takes is one too large to fail bank to go down, and the derivatives will take care of every other financial asset. In such an environment, our modern world, which is so dependent on technology and the monetary system, would be economically paralyzed. That's to say the least. Economically paralyzed means paralyzed in every other way. There's no transportation, there's no gas delivery, there's no communications, there's nothing. Let's see. The primary wealth would no longer primarily be digital, cash, stocks, bonds, and tangible wealth would become more important. Yes, tangible wealth would become more important. Whether or not gold and silver would be, probably silver would be, because you need it to make things. Gold, I don't know about the tangibility of only a few people holding it and the rest of the world not having it, so they don't care. Tangible assets include gold and silver bullion, agricultural land, water, and property. We are not predicting such an outcome. We are simply looking at the facts as they are, in the context of intense geopolitical tensions, and surmising that it would be prudent to take necessary precautions and diversify into physical gold. Yes, it is prudent to do that. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think gold will be used as money in the case where the whole system falls apart, because nobody has any gold. So you can't use it to transact business unless you're going to, the 100 people in your state who own physical gold can walk up to a baker to buy a loaf of bread with their gold coin. The baker won't even be working, Mr. Gold Coin guy. So it is complicated. It is scary. How do we get out of this mess? The only way to get out of this mess is to destroy the system. And when you destroy the system, that's the problem. How do you reallocate wealth and things like that? That's what the Road to Ruta stuff talks about in the Teacher's Guide from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. And in the Teacher's Guide, that you would think it's a Teacher's Guide, it must have all the answers. There's 80 questions that go unanswered in this little Teacher's Guide to a comic book. Insane. So what am I saying today? I'm saying, look out. Here comes trouble. The banks are going to try to get out of their problem by destroying or hampering the electronic monetary system. Easy to do, and then you are on your own. So God help us all when that happens. We kind of got ourselves in this position by allowing these bankers to continue on the way they did. The bailout in 2008 was completely our fault. We weren't ready. We weren't smart enough to know what they were doing. But this time I think we will be. And when the big banks crash this time, Congress will stand up and say, no bailout, and here's how we go forward. But getting everybody to agree will be a problem. Anyway, this is Bix Weir leaving you with no answer today. But subscribe to these videos, and I might have an answer to this little dilemma in the days and weeks coming forward. Don't forget to go out and buy your silver right now. Silver is scraping at rock bottom. And silver can be used as money, or it can be used as anything in a technological future. So silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And play around with the cryptos if you want, but very risky, as those can crash pretty easily if they don't have any real use. Anyway, we'll talk to you later.